Right then, let's have a proper chat about something most blokes won't discuss down the pub, shall they? How many times have you laid there afterwards wondering, am I actually giving her what she really wants? It's not exactly the sort of thing you'd bring up over a pint with your mates, is it? And you certainly won't find honest answers scrolling through the internet, because what you'll find there, frankly, is a load of rubbish. The porn industry and all that locker room bravado has fed men more lies than truths when it comes to intimacy. Here's the thing, and I'm being straight with you. The way you move, how you approach penetration, and how you control yourself in the bedroom can make all the difference between leaving her quietly unsatisfied or making her body and mind light up in a way that has her wanting more. I want to show you the latter. Today, I'm going to share 5 scientifically backed techniques that every man should know to instantly improve intimacy, last longer, and give her the experience she actually wants, not what you think she wants. Now, before we dive in, take a second right now and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and drop a quick comment telling me where you're watching from. I always love seeing our community of men from all over the world gathered here. Right, let's bust some myths first, then we'll get into the 5 tips that women genuinely wish more men knew about. Here's the first myth, and it's a big one. Sex is all about size and speed. That's the message men pick up from pornography, isn't it? Bigger, faster, more powerful. But in reality, that's not what brings true satisfaction for most women. The science tells a completely different story. Actually, studies show consistently that for women, technique, emotional connection, and attentiveness matter far more than size or how long you can keep going like a jackhammer. Think about it from a biological standpoint. The female body responds to rhythm, to variety, to clitoral stimulation, and to emotional presence, not relentless repetitive pounding. Yet so many men, good men, carry around this silent anxiety thinking they're not enough. And that anxiety manifests itself in the bedroom, causing them to finish too quickly, get stuck in their own heads, miss the signals she's giving. So let's clear something up right now. You don't need to be bigger. You need to be smarter, more present, and more attuned to her body. And that's where I come in. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Amelia Wright. I'm a board-certified urologist with over 25 years of experience working directly with men's health and intimacy. I've spoken with thousands of men, chaps in their 30s, 50s, 70s, who ask the same question in different ways. How can I improve my performance in bed? How can I last longer? How can I make sure my partner is truly satisfied? And after 25 years, I can tell you this, there's a pattern. The men who get it right aren't always the fittest, the youngest, or the best endowed. They're men who listen, who adapt, and who apply a few essential techniques that work with female biology, not against it. Now, I want to address something straightforward, because I've seen the comments and questions. Some of you have asked if channels like this use AI-generated content. That's a fair question in this day and age, isn't it? Let me be crystal clear. Whilst I use modern technology to reach more people like yourself, the medical expertise, the 25 years of clinical experience, the thousands of patient consultations, those are absolutely real. I've spent a quarter-century in this field, and everything I share with you comes from genuine medical knowledge and real-world experience helping men just like you. I believe in transparency, and I believe in giving you content that's backed by actual science, not just what sounds good. Right, with that sorted, let's get into the 5 tips that can genuinely change the game for you. Tip number 1, start slow. Let me ask you this. When you have that first intimate contact, what's your instinct? For most men, arousal comes on quickly, and the urge is to dive straight in, fast and intense. But here's the problem. The female body isn't built that way. Biologically, women take longer to become fully aroused. The vaginal walls need time to relax and expand. Blood flow to her pelvic region needs to increase. Lubrication builds gradually. If you go in too hard, too fast, her body might not be ready. That means discomfort, possibly pain. And emotionally, it can make her feel disconnected from you. So what's the solution? Patience, my friend. Start slow. Think of it like warming up before a workout, wouldn't you? Gentle, deliberate strokes at first. Shallow entry. Prioritize closeness and connection. What happens biologically? Her blood vessels dilate. The vaginal opening expands naturally, and the nerve endings become more sensitive. Emotionally, she feels cared for, looked after. In practice, you're setting the stage for pleasure that builds rather than fizzles out quickly. Trust me on this, if you start slow, you'll unlock far more intensity later on. Now, for you, older gentlemen watching, and I know many of you are because I see your comments, and they're brilliant, starting slow has another massive advantage. It helps you manage your own arousal. When you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, you might find that you need a bit more time to build up as well, and that's perfectly normal. Starting slow works for both of you. It's not a race, it's a dance. And the best dancers don't rush through the steps, do they? Tip number 2, tease her. This is where most men miss a golden opportunity. Teasing is one of the most powerful tools you can use. Why? Because sexual pleasure isn't just about stimulation, it's about anticipation. When you build her desire up and then deliberately pull back for a moment, her body craves more. You're literally programming her nervous system to respond more intensely when you give it back. Here's how you do it in practice. Find a rhythm that she clearly enjoys. Keep it going for a bit, then deliberately slow down. Shorter strokes, less intensity. Watch how her body reacts. She might writhe about, pull you closer, even beg for more. When you finally return to that rhythm, the pleasure multiplies. But here's the warning, and this is important. Don't tease her just before she's about to climax. That can feel like you're robbing her of the moment, and that's the last thing you want. The teasing strategy works best early on, building anticipation. Think of it this way. Would you rather give her a single spark or light a fire that never stops burning? Teasing is what keeps that fire going. I've had patients tell me, "Dr. Wright, I've been married 40 years and never knew about this." Well, now you do. And it's never too late to try something new with your partner, is it? Some of the best feedback I've received has been from gentlemen in their 70s who tried these techniques and said their partners hadn't been that responsive in decades. That's what proper technique can do. Tip number 3. Vary your tempo. Here's a mistake I see men make all the time. They find a rhythm that works for them, and then they stick with it. Same depth, same angle, same speed. It works for a while, but the body adapts. Nerve endings desensitize. What felt incredible 5 minutes ago starts to feel repetitive. The solution? Variety. Sometimes slow and deep. Sometimes fast and shallow. Sometimes stop completely and change position. Biologically, this keeps the nerve endings on alert. Emotionally, it keeps her on the edge in the best possible way. Practically, it helps you manage your stamina because you're not exhausting yourself with a single exercise pattern. So remember this, rhythm is good, but variety is what keeps the symphony alive. For those of you dealing with chronic pain, arthritis, back problems, I know many of you are, varying your tempo also means you can find positions and rhythms that work with your body rather than against it. You don't have to be an Olympic athlete to be a fantastic lover. You just need to be thoughtful and adaptable. I've had patients with serious back injuries who've told me that once they learn to vary their approach and communicate with their partners, their intimate lives actually improved compared to when they were younger and just doing the same thing over and over. Tip number 4. Use grinding, not just thrusting. This is an absolute game changer. Most men think sex is about rapid thrusting. But here's the secret. For most women, the clitoris, not the vagina, is the most sensitive source of pleasure. Now, the clitoris isn't just that little button you see externally. It's a larger structure that extends beneath the skin, wrapping around the vaginal canal. That means when you press your pelvis against hers, grinding rather than just thrusting, you're stimulating an enormous network of nerves. Try this in positions like missionary or when she's on top. Focus on grinding motions, circles, angled pressure, or steady rocking. Keep your pelvis close to her body. Maintain that firm contact. Biologically, you're hitting her most sensitive nerve network. Emotionally, she feels enveloped and deeply connected to you. Practically, grinding helps you last longer because it's less stimulating than rapid thrusting. It's a win-win situation. She gets more of what she wants, and you gain control. Now, I've had some comments asking about specific techniques for grinding, especially from our older viewers. Roger from Michigan asked about the best way to grind for maximum arousal, and that's a brilliant question. The key is maintaining consistent pressure and circular motions rather than just back and forth. Think of it like polishing something gently but firmly. You're not scrubbing, you're creating friction with purpose. And communicate with your partner. Every woman is different, so what works for one might need adjusting for another. Don't be afraid to ask, does this feel good? Would you like more pressure here? That communication is incredibly attractive to women. Tip number 5, pay attention. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: pay attention. Your biggest weapon in the bedroom isn't your size, your stamina, or even these techniques. It's your awareness. Her breathing, the sounds she makes, the way her body moves against you. These are constant signals telling you what feels good and what doesn't. Every woman is different. What worked for one partner might not work for another. Pornography doesn't teach you this. Locker room stories don't teach you this. But her body will tell you everything if you know how to pay attention. Biologically, tuning in helps you adjust to her arousal cycle in real time. Emotionally, it shows that you care deeply about her. Practically, it prevents you from falling into repetitive patterns that bore both of you. Presence is power. Don't just go through the motions mechanically. Be there with her, fully. I've had patients in their 80s tell me that this was the most important tip of all. One gentleman said, "Dr. Wright, I spent 50 years not really paying attention, and now that I do, it's like I'm with a completely different woman. She's more responsive, more engaged, and frankly, so am I." That's the power of presence. Now, let's put this all together into an action plan, shall we? Start slow. Let her body warm up. Tease early on. Build anticipation. Vary your tempo. Variety beats monotony every time. Grinding as well as thrusting. Maximize her pleasure whilst ensuring control for yourself. Stay present. Listen, adapt, and respond. Practice these 5 steps, and you'll notice changes almost immediately, not just in her reactions, but in your own confidence as well. Now, let me pause for a moment because I know some of you might be feeling a bit of pressure right now. Perhaps you've struggled with physical stamina before. Maybe you feel like you've let your partner down in the past. Perhaps you're worried that you're too old or past your best. Let me tell you the truth. It's never too late to improve. I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who discovered that, with the right techniques and a bit of attention to their health, they could become better lovers than they were at 20. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about presence, connection, and small adjustments that make a massive difference. So take a breath. You're not broken. You're learning. And that alone puts you ahead of most men. I want to address something specific that came up in the comments because it's important. Someone asked why they should trust a urologist about what women want when my medical training focuses on male anatomy. That's a fair challenge, and I respect that question. Here's my answer. Over 25 years, I haven't just treated men in isolation. I've spoken with countless couples together. I've collaborated with gynecologists and sex therapists. I've reviewed extensive research on female sexual response. And most importantly, I've listened. Listened to women who've come to appointments with their partners. Listened to female colleagues in the medical field. Listened to the research. Everything I share with you is informed by that broader perspective, not just my own speciality. I believe in evidence-based medicine, and I believe in learning from multiple sources. That's how I can confidently share these techniques with you. Another question that came up, and this was from Noella, was about advice for women over 60 regarding their own pleasure. That's brilliant that you're asking, and you're absolutely right. Women deserve this information just as much. Whilst this particular video focuses on techniques for men, I'm planning content specifically addressing female pleasure at different life stages. Because intimacy doesn't stop at any age, does it? And everyone deserves to have fulfilling, intimate lives, regardless of how old they are. For those of you dealing with chronic pain, I want to specifically address John's comment about positions when you have back and neck problems. That's a real concern, and it affects many men. The key is finding positions that don't put strain on your problem areas. Side-by-side positions, spooning, or having her on top, can all reduce strain on your back and neck while still allowing for intimacy. And remember that grinding technique I mentioned? That requires less vigorous movement, which can be much easier on painful joints and muscles. Don't let pain rob you of intimacy. Adapt, communicate with your partner, and work with your body rather than against it. Your partner wants you comfortable just as much as she wants pleasure. It's not selfish to find positions that work for you. It's smart. Right, gentlemen, here's the bottom line women don't want a performance, they want an experience. When you slow down, tease, vary your approach, grind with purpose, and truly pay attention, you're not just giving her pleasure, you're giving her safety, trust, and connection. And in return, you'll feel her desire, trust, and passion for you grow. It's not about tricks or gimmicks. It's about being the kind of man who understands that true intimacy is both physical and emotional. So, next time you're with your partner, don't ask yourself, am I good enough? Ask yourself, am I listening? Am I connecting? Am I making this moment about us, not just about me? If the answer is yes, then you're already giving her more than 90% of men ever will. Now, if you found this helpful, please don't forget to like this video. It genuinely helps more men find this message. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss health and intimacy tips that make a real difference, and leave a comment below. Tell me which tip resonated most with you, or ask a question you'd like me to answer in a future video. I read every single comment, and your questions often inspire my next videos. I've seen comments from all of you saying where you're watching from: Missouri, San Diego, Kashmir, West Virginia, Michigan. It's absolutely brilliant seeing men from all over engaging with this content. That tells me we're building something special here. A community where men can learn about health and intimacy without judgment. To address the elephant in the room that some of you mentioned in comments, yes, I'm aware that some people think AI-generated content isn't trustworthy. I use modern technology to reach more people efficiently, but the medical knowledge, the clinical experience, the understanding of human intimacy that comes from real work with real patients over 25 years. I've sat across from thousands of men, many just like you, who are struggling with these exact issues. I've seen what works and what doesn't. That's not something an algorithm can replicate. That's human experience. And I'm committed to giving you accurate, helpful, evidence-based information because you deserve that. For those asking about studies and research, you're right to want evidence. The research I'm referring to includes work from the Journal of Sexual Medicine, studies on female orgasm patterns, research into clitoral anatomy and nerve distribution, and surveys on what women report as most satisfying in intimate encounters. If you want to dive deeper into the academic research, search for studies by Dr. Barry Komisaruk's work on female orgasm, research on clitoral structure by Dr. Helen O'Connell, and satisfaction studies published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior. The evidence is out there supporting everything I've shared with you today. Remember this above all else. Your age doesn't define your vitality. Small changes create freedom, confidence, and satisfaction. I'm Dr. Amelia Wright, and I'll see you in the next video. Look after your health, your body, and your relationships, because you deserve the best. And to every single one of you watching, especially those in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, thank you for being here. Thank you for wanting to learn and improve. That desire to be better, that's what makes you a good partner. Keep that curiosity alive. Keep communicating with your partner. And remember that intimacy can genuinely improve with age if you approach it with wisdom and openness. Cheers, everyone.